Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy the story. This was written by a real human. So please leave a like if you enjoy it to help the channel and subscribe for future content. It's free. Links to the story and Patreon will be in the description. Please go and support the author. Any support is always appreciated. If a human narrator would like to narrate my stories, please contact me. I write these in my spare time between work and my children and just don't have the time or quiet space to narrate them myself. I hope you can understand. Thanks for your time, and again I hope you enjoy the story. And for the love of everything YouTube, this is literature, so please leave my channel alone. Let's get into it, folks. Cats at the Cradle Part 1. Barbara sat at her console, scanning the real-time statistics of everything within 3 light-years of the Sol system. Well, everything with an FTL drive, she thought. Her second screen showed a view of the hyperlane designated B111, or as the locals called her station, the Bones. She had to admit from the outside the massive curved pylons that collected and dissipated the residual energy from a ship exiting FTL into real space did make it look like the ribcage of some ancient primordial beast from legends. She stifled a yawn as she reached for her now cold dregs of what was once a couple hours ago a hot cup of coffee. She grimaced as she finished it off and stood to go refill it in the break room. She was just pulling the freshly brewed cup out of the maker when a warning klaxon began to wail. "Shit!" she exclaimed as she sloshed the scalding hot coffee over the lip of the cup. She rushed back to her station as one of the 2 screens was flashing an incoming warning. "Computer, I don't see a transponder code. Give me a reading on the possible incoming ship's makeup. How many and how big? Also, send a data burst to Sol Alpha Station as soon as you have a reasonable solution," Barbara said, typing inquiries into her console as the computer acknowledged her. 4 ships of 2 different sizes, unknown origin, contact in 2 minutes. Be advised, probable warships inbound based on tonnage. Receiving some sort of distress signal from the smaller class of ships. Reading multiple hull breaches and radiation from all 4 ships. Be advised, data burst sent. She activated the defensive turrets that lined the lane up to the gate. They swiveled in obedience as their mobile platforms silently moved them into formation. With no time to spare, the computer began transition in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Her breath caught as she saw the first ship exiting the FTL lane into the Sol system, blue-green static crackling across its gray-green hull being drawn off by the pylons and converted into power for the turrets now tracking the new arrival. She hit the send button on her console to loop the same message over and over until she got a response. "Computer, as soon as the last hull comes through that gate, I want the disruptors in the pylons discharged." Acknowledged. Data burst received. Originating from Sol Alpha. The Phoenix and Titan 7 are on the way. Distress signal acknowledged. Proceed with deadbolt protocol. The computer chimed. Second signature transitioning. Warning. Debris cloud detected. Barbara slammed the yellow button on the console as a titanium alloy iris slammed shut over the viewport in her station. She could hear metal hitting the station. Thuds and squealing as metal scraped across the hull and iris of her workstation. She staggered a bit as something substantial glanced off the habitat dome next to her workstation pod. More klaxons wailed as the station took damage. This was bad. 3rd ship exiting. Warning. Give me a view of the gate on screen. As she looked on in abject horror at the display of venting atmosphere and debris bleeding from a tear almost halfway through the ship. How the thing made transitioning into real space Barbara couldn't say, but she could say that ship had taken the brunt of the fighting. How the hell? But that's all she got out before her view screen flashed. Once, twice, and Barbara could see small craft bursting out of its hull as something larger began to exit the gate into real space. 4th ship exiting into real space. Warning. Missiles detected. Brace for impact. Auto defense active, turrets engaging. Klaxons wailed and warnings flashed across her screen as she was suddenly thrown back onto her posterior by what felt like a fairly large explosion. "What the hell was that?" asked Barbara as she managed to stand again. "ED on that assistant's computer?" Another explosion caused her to lurch sideways unexpectedly and she slammed into the work console, nearly knocking herself out cold. 3 minutes for the Phoenix, Titan 7 is 6 minutes out. The computer paused for a moment, cycling data as fast as it could. That was an FTL drive going critical. Auto turrets are returning fire on the larger ship. Sealing habitat, hull breach detected. Fuck. Barbara exclaimed as she was jostled violently by yet more kinetic strikes. Her head hurt, and when she removed her hand she could see crimson blood on her palm from where she had connected with her workstation in the first shock wave from the FTL drive going critical. She scrambled for the deadbolt switch, and just as the fourth ship's spinal-mounted capital-grade laser began to charge for firing effect, she hit the flashing warning sign on her console, and a burst of energy swept through the pylons. From the actual exit of the gate's pylons to just past the gate itself was suddenly saturated with the equivalent of an EMP burst. Green-blue static seemed to engulf everything for a moment, and then she could see small round pods shooting everywhere as the fourth ship's back quarter disappeared when the gate closed. It wouldn't open again until the station could be repaired. Warning: cascade failure imminent. Brace, warned the computer. A wave of energy expanded from the fourth ship to leave the gate as its FTL drive was suddenly gone, including half its containment chamber for the spinal-mounted capital-grade laser that was just priming for use. The view screen went bright white, and Barbara could swear she could hear the iris groan from the expanding pressure wave. She had to blink a few times to regain her vision. Even then she could still see spots. Her comms channel crackled, static bleeding through. B-111, please respond, we lost your signal. Repeat, B-111, please respond. It crackled again and then went quiet. She managed to stand again, having been knocked to her knees at her station, and pressed the relay switch. B-111 here, deadbolt protocol active, please hurry. She looked at the information on her screen and then said, auto turrets are down. As far as can tell, deadbolt has them locked down. Be advised, multiple life pods in the immediate vicinity. Computer, track their vectors. Acknowledged, Bones, we're about 2 minutes out. Coming in hot. Keep your foot on the door for us. Phoenix out. She was typing frantically, trying to bring the auto defense cannons back online, when the computer unexpectedly chimed. Transmission received from the first ship, playing. This is ONV Crown of Stars, Admiral Vol Mubb speaking. Static on the screen began to clear a bit more as the ship's crew managed to bring more systems back online, but it still interfered enough she was unable to fully see the figure of this admiral. They looked humanoid to Barbara, but she was only half listening. Regardless of who they were, she was only in charge for less than 2 minutes now, she thought. The translator must have finally gotten enough of her initial looped message translated for them to understand she had received their distress signal for what it was. Attacked by the Viril, we did not fire. I repeat. The Orions did not fire, even in defense from the Viril. Please, we need assistance. Please, said the figure. The pleading tone caused Barbara to look up. 1 minute. Hurry, Phoenix. She silently urged the Navy as 2 of the pylons burned out, causing the EMP field to dissipate. 2 of the turrets came back online though, and she had them locked onto the one remaining ship. Through the Orion's feed, she heard the only thing she cared about. Orion vessel, Crown of Stars, this is the United Sol Alliance. I am Captain Gregory Verde of the Phoenix. Under Section 4 Paragraph 9 of the Interstellar Code, we accept your request for aid. We will be sending over a boarding party to locate and assist with wounded. Be advised, resistance will be viewed as acts of hostility, and any resistance will end very badly for your people. After a brief pause, the figure bowed its head and raised a hand in a sign. Please, we were carrying a lot of civilians, women and children mostly. All of our ships were. Her screen flashed an incoming video link, and as she pressed the indicator for it to proceed, she couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief when she saw the blue and white uniform of a comms officer. Sergeant Barbara Thornton? The figure waited for her to acknowledge she was before continuing. Captain Gregory would like to invite you to the Phoenix. We'll be sending over a team to copy everything you managed to get data on and take over the post until repairs get ironed out. You can catch a ride with us back to Mars Station. Thanks, I'll be ready, was all she could reply. It had been a long time since she had been on ship. The comms officer nodded and the screen disappeared. It was immediately replaced by a view of debris and life pods. Computer, do we have tracking data yet on those pods? 473 Orion life pods have been detected so far. There are more. 159 from the Viril ship, again there are more. Some I can't read anything. They disappeared after my sensors initially picked them up. I believe they are actively jamming my limited sensors. It chimed in response to her inquiry. She let out another sigh, followed by a, why couldn't this be a normal Monday? Thanks for listening. Please leave a like and hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the story. If you feel generous and want to support the author's work, go visit the Patreon link in the description. Any support is welcome. Until next time.